It's funny because
I
people like
literally
actually
cried.
believe it. They're like, worse.
Last weekend. No, it was fine. My headphones out.
All right, so what do you notice? And I'm not necessarily worried about, okay, this is an example of this device, but what are parts from the passage? And again, AP exam. So I think when people start thinking about AP exam, oh, it's going to be a formal speech from the Civil War era, letter from Abigail Adams, type of serious document, which it can be, but it can also be about magnasols. There's been an article about the history of the plastic pink flamingo. So you're probably more likely to have something of that historical, literary significance, but this kind of stuff can happen. The worst thing that you could do is not read the prompt and realize, satirize, mock press release, and then just start writing about, okay, this is, the way in which people are going to buy these and thinking that it's a serious issue as opposed to being a satirical one. Michelle, what's something you picked up on?
There's a lot of bombastic fiction.
Yeah. Which examples, like words specifically, would jump out for you? I mean, there's a ton.
Like total foot rejuvenation system, resonator nodules, pillow wrinkles, natural.
Restoring the foot's natural bioflow.
Yeah.
Um,
We stimulate dead foot cells with vibrational biofeedback.
Those of you in physics, I think you should quiz Mr. Shoppy if he knows the Earth's natural vibrational rate with your kilofrankles and see what happens.
Mr. Smanson.
We're like, hey, Swanson, what's the mass of your? And he's like, I don't know. Shop should know. Swanson.
So we got the foot, the foot rejuvenation system, and all, certainly the vibrational biofeedback that we have going down here, and then it gets kind of scientific too when it's talking about like pain nuclei and pleasing comfortrons. I don't know if I would recommend using those on your next, quiz for bio or anything like that with parts of the cells, but yeah, there certainly is that bombastic diction. Some people would say exaggerated terminology, but certainly there are key terms. And you could even argue that, when you get to the biomagnetic field that's going around your foot, the magna grid design, contour points, the kilofrankles, where'd that number go? Right there. In advertising, you'll hear about like buzzwords, like words that draw people in. Buzzwords are not going to show up on like a literary list, but you could certainly argue, something like buzzwords that just kind of hooks people, reflexology, the contour points, and that would certainly be a viable option when it comes to what's happening within the passage. What else?
I'd say irony.
Wait, okay, yeah, I would agree. Where?
Like endorsed by an intelligent looking man in a white lab coat, like you just buy it because he seems reliable, and you have to actually use it reliable.
What's going on with different part, but along that line, pseudoscience known as terranometry, which would kind of be another thing for the buzzwords. We have 5 forms of pseudoscience up here. What's pseudo mean?
Small.
Not small.
Fake.
Fake. So there's certainly irony in the sense that this has been endorsed by fake science, not real science, and certainly you're getting that again when it comes to the intelligent-looking man in a white lab coat. There isn't any real credibility behind it, but if they're trumpeting that it would be appropriate, absolutely. Shelby, I think you were reading something mentioning the part where why should I get my spine realigned?
Yeah.
Pay thousands of dollars for things that will work when I could just pay $20 for something that is clearly endorsed by another person.
The other one where she was talking about her ankle hurting,
Uh-huh.
and she's like, in 7 weeks my ankle stopped hurting, but that's just like a normal time for like something to heal like that.
You could be walking barefoot
Yeah.
or have one high heel and one flip-flop on, and your ankle will probably start hurting after about 7 weeks. So did Magnasols really do it? No. But what's her statement? Just try to prove that Magnasols didn't heal me. What else? Carol?
And then, like, kind of in addition to like the pseudoscience thing, it talks about like scientific sounding literature.
Mm-hmm. I forget the line number for that one. There we go. Like up here at 18. According to scientific sounding literature. So obviously there's not going to be any kind of actual validity coming behind it with the total foot rejuvenation. But while other insoles have magnets and reflexology as keys to their appearance of usefulness, Magnasoles go several steps further. Haha, pun. So appears to be useful, but not really. I also like the line 24, between every point on the human foot and another part of your body, enabling your soles to heal your entire body as you walk. So you got soles feeling better.
I also like to take advantage of the semi-plausible
Uh-huh. Which,
20.
that's first column. 20, yep, there we go. And semi-plausible is going to be basically the same thing as the pseudoscience. Yeah, maybe this could actually kind of happen. Maybe not. Shelby and then Abigail will come over here.
In line 42, the doctor's name is Dr. Wayne Frankel, and they talk about Keela Frankels,
Mhm.
and they call him like a pseudoscientist, so he's a fake scientist.
Mhm. And I mean, well, I'm sorry.
People like the thought of like scientists having a say in things, and so that was like another tactic of them being like, a doctor likes it, so, like a doctor.
And it's kind of, not to like completely shift,
Yeah.
arguments here, because we want to stay within the prompt. But like in today's world, you hear so much about fake news and what people are reading. There certainly would be someone where if you gave this to them, sign me up. It's only $19.95 because that has to be the price for anything that's worth buying. Although you probably could do 2 easy installments of $9.95 plus shipping and handling.
Yeah.
And, you might still get it. But yeah, it certainly adds to that layer of it sounds good, so sure, I may as well go ahead and purchase one of those things.
Oh, and then there's the part that if the frequency of one's foot is out of alignment, the entire body will suffer.
Mm-hmm.
Below Frankel.
Wait, you don't believe that? I mean, what part of you is under stress every day? Every step you take, I mean, that foot can't be out of alignment with the earth. Now, we had bombastic diction mentioned earlier as a device. Looking at the other examples that we have in here, can you think of any term, or buzzwords, also mentioned, can you think of any terms that would also work along with this? Because you certainly have found examples of this is what is mocking what people will buy, but I think sometimes people struggle to come up with terms.
Do imagery because it gives you a lot of descriptions what it looked like.
Like the effect that it'll have upon. You could. The one thing that you want to make sure you still are able to put together is what the way it's getting worded versus the way that people are going to interpret it. So there's going to be an onus on you to still explain how that satirical nature is going to take place.
You say it's like ethos, pathos, logos.
Partial. Like, what would you think for ethos?
Like they use the doctor's like credibility.
Okay.
Or like they reference like a fake doctor.
The irony, which could be a device that you could use, of the ethos is it's actually not.
Ethos at all.
It's not credible. So you have to make sure you identify that you realize the credibility is not there. But anytime there's some kind of advertisement, you usually do have the person in the white lab coat or the consumer. I'm thinking of a T word that would go along with it. If they're giving their experiences with it, their testimonials. So you certainly could use testimonials, and that would give you the ability to look at, look, they're really not credible whatsoever, but it does mock the way that people think about what they would purchase. Olivia, did you have?
Yeah, could you use like parody as an overall device, or is that too general?
You could. When you think of which parts from here would you say the parody would be?
I was saying like the fake science names, like
Okay.
in contrast to like real science, and then like certain doctors that they would have mentioned.
Anytime you recognize something being satirical, the two that I would really look for would be exaggeration. Although with exaggeration would also be linking understatement with it. And I think that's probably where the parody comes through the most, as well as going with the irony. The fact that people would believe something with pseudoscience or vibrational biofeedback is actually going to exist. If you did something like those, You went with and certainly the irony of the terms like pseudoscience. If you had buzzwords or the bombastic diction, I would say those two things are probably pretty much the same. And you have those testimonials, you might end up kind of discovering that all of those things, not that you would cover all four, but 2 or 3 of them might kind of create the parody in itself. Because you want to be careful that it doesn't come across as they use satire to satirize the products. And parody can kind of sometimes go into that area. But I think probably with the parody, the irony aspect would really be the part that you'd be looking at, as well as the hyperbole, the exaggeration. Certainly, though, you can recognize how that parody, how that satire is taking place, even if a term like hyperbole doesn't come to mind. Buzzwords, testimonials, seductive pricing, with the 1995, all of those things, you can certainly still write about it. For the rhetorical analysis, it's not important what the term is that you use. Certainly, we want you to be exact as possible. But can you explain how the rhetoric is getting used to achieve the purpose? And with the examples you've listed, absolutely you can figure that out. So the only real homework that would be going on is reading Harmon and Siddhartha for Wednesday.